Okay, we should be live. Let me know if you have any audio or video issues, if there is anyone out there. Let's see. And I am not tardy, Dave. I am right on time, actually, unless you can't see this. And then everyone's tardy but me. Okay, I think we're good to go here. Actually, I haven't started showing up on this other screen yet, so let's give that a second. I'm not willing to rule out that everything is screwing up horribly. Interesting. Huh. It says I'm live and streaming, but there we go. When did it actually start? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Huh. Okay, there you go. Well, anyways, it's live now. There was like a 30-second delay at least. Like I started right on time, but then it didn't start actually showing up on your side for another 30 seconds. The delay is not usually that long. Anyways, my name is Nick. This is Board Game Brawl. Technical difficulties aside, this is your weekly Q&A. I know I took a couple weeks off because it was just so busy. Anyways, this is where you can ask me questions about anything you like. Board game related or not, I don't really care. I'm not necessarily going to answer everything, but I'll do my best, or at least acknowledge it and acknowledge your existence and your validity in the world, because that's what you really came here for, right? Validation. So we all want. Just kidding. Now, lots of stuff going on. I'm still busy with the channel. I'm kind of debating right now. It's so late in the it's not late in the year, but it's late in the month of the first year, and I don't know whether or not to even bother with the top 10 of 2016 or not. But let me know. Based on what you guys say, maybe I'll decide to do it or not. Let's see. The other things, I want to do a review of the Eldritch Horror. I'm just stop messing with the table. I want to do a review of the newest Eldritch Horror expansion, Dreamlands. I'm ready to go with that. I just need to film it, which is pretty easy. I just have to film the components. And me blabbering. I would like to do. I'm going to do a new little video that covers some of the reviews I missed from last year. And then I've got some previews to do, unfortunately. But there you have it. And then, let's see, what else? We'll see where it goes from there. Once I get done with these dumb top 10s and end of year, start of year stuff, like I might do a top 10 anticipated games of 2017, which will probably be very short, then it'll free up more time for me to do some reviews. And I'm still busy, but I can still probably do like a couple of reviews a week. So that's what I'm hoping to get back to do. And then we'll take it from there. But if you guys have any comments or suggestions, I'm always open to it. In the meantime, let's see. A couple of questions came in at least. Maybe not, just a lot of comments. Now I want to eat a Dunkin Donut. I wouldn't recommend it. Here's the interesting thing about Dunkin Donuts. I go there for the coffee. Their coffee I like. A lot of people say it's garbage, but I can't take really strong coffee, so I don't like Starbucks coffee. And it's also way cheaper at Dunkin Donuts. I did find out that you're not supposed to be microwaving those styrofoam cups they come in, because apparently chemicals can leach out of them. I had no idea about that. I know it said do not microwave on the side, but I didn't know if that was really anything. I thought it was just because you don't want to make it too hot. I don't know. But the thing about Dunkin Donuts, some of their hot food is okay, like their wraps. Their donuts are fine, I guess, but every time I talk myself into getting a donut, I regret it immediately afterwards. I feel sick, like it's too much. Maybe it's just because I don't have a sweet tooth like some people do. This has been Donut Talk. I'll see you next week, guys. Take care. Let's see. The 30-second delay is the new Trump Gestapo verifying your channel, Nick. Well, that's fine. I don't mind if God Emperor Trump verifies every inch of me. But, oh my God, is this on? Hi, Nick. Sorry for a personal question, but have you ever thought of starting a family? That's not that personal. Personal, I mean, we have grossly different interpretations of the word personal in this context. But I have thought about it. It's an interesting thing. It's hard to say, like, if I had met the right person and wanted to settle down with them and start a family, like I haven't really been in that position. I've dated long term, and maybe with a couple of different people, I might have been able to go in that direction of making it more permanent. But honestly, I don't like the idea of that. I don't know. Like, I like the idea. I like the idea of having kids someday, but ultimately, I don't know. It's just, I'm not wired that way anymore. Once upon a time, that might have been the case, but now I've spent like 36. It was my birthday yesterday. Whatever. Don't make a big deal out of it. 36 years of my life just coasting along, doing my own thing, sort of treasuring my independence. And so I just don't think my brain is wired that way at this point. Is the only way I can put it. Like, I don't have those strong, like, gotta settle down desires that other people do. It's just one of those things. I don't know. Everyone's different, I suppose. I hope you're not offering, Philip. Someone else says. Philip, call me. Do the top 10. It's always interesting to hear those. Yeah, it is. I mean, the top 10s are like instant clickbait, everyone's interested type thing, right? And it doesn't have to be necessarily like as insidious as all other clickbait, but yeah, it's an easy one. I mean, look, those Watch Mojo people. I'm not like a huge follower of their channel, but like occasionally I'll stumble on one of their videos off in the margin, and all of a sudden I've watched 3 of them. Everyone likes top 10s. Going back to Dave Letterman, that was his favorite. That was my favorite part of his show, even when they were terrible, and sometimes they were intentionally terrible. But catch up on the other reviews would be nice. Yeah, I know. At this point, it's not going to happen. Although, like I said, I've got a little bit of a plan for a new type of video that will hopefully knock out some of the things people have been asking me about the most. Seems like YouTube doesn't now allow cut and paste in live chat, or is it just me? I don't know. I just did it. But I mean, maybe I just copied your comment and put it in the chat. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know if that's what you tried to do. Favorite Miyazaki film? Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Instant answer. Technically speaking, if I were to actually put every film right next to each other and then break it down bit by bit, it's probably not the best of the films if you want to be as objective as possible about it. Everything is subjective, but assuming that you can reach the ideal of objectivity about something like this, it's probably not his best film. However, for me personally, I have the most fond memories of it. I watched the original crappy Warriors of the Wind version, the North American hatchet job they did to it, but I still liked it, and it made me in later life go on and find the original version, which is great. And I just think it's got a very interesting story. It's post-apocalyptic, but is more interesting than that because it's almost like fantasy post-apocalyptic because it's in some other world. Well, technically, I think it's supposed to be our world, but it's so far in the future that even the old remnants of society don't look like our society. And so that aesthetic is all different. I like the main heroine. I mean, every Miyazaki movie, or almost all of them, except for like Porco Rosso, has a strong-headed female protagonist, and they're all very good to varying degrees. I found Nausicaa to be one of the most compelling because she's all of a sudden thrust into being the leader of her people, tragically. Spoiler alert, because her father dies. It happens early in the movie. And but at the same time, she's a very gentle girl. She loves nature. She loves these the creatures in the world that the Omu, that the other people in the world fear and hate because they're just forces of destruction. That's all they know. She respects them and wants them to also do well in the world in order to revive the world. So, and she's very sweet, and she has a sweet side to her, but she needs to be a strong leader for her people. She needs to be a fierce warrior because that's the situation she's been thrust into just to survive. And I just found that awesome. And there's so many great things about it with the animation and the character designs, and it's just a very punchy story. I even read the manga, and honestly, the manga's fine. the manga adaptation, but the original movie I think is very direct and to the point. Now, having said that, I think a close second for me is Princess Mononoke, which I think is a better film. I just don't have as much of an emotional attachment to it, but Princess Mononoke is also great. That one has much more of the male character, which I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but his arc, he is more of the primary protagonist of that movie, much more so than a lot of other of Miyazaki's movies. And Princess Mononoke is more like, she's also a protagonist, but it's a weird thing. It's been a while since I watched it too. But yeah, those are probably my top 2 of his movies. On a different note, because Philip's the one who talked about starting a family. Philip, just call me. I mean, anytime, man. I'm available. Can you please mention a few co-ops that are easily enjoyable solo? Sure. Well, okay. Easily. If you say easily, I'm anticipating it doesn't have any kind of any kind of modification. So I'll mention a few of mine, and you can actually just go right through my top 100, which we just did. So if you haven't watched that yet, if you don't want to be spoiled on it, then tune out for a minute. But if you start from like number 1 and going back, I mean, Kingdom Death, I always play solo at this point. Legendary, I do a mixture of solo and play with other people when I get a new expansion, and it works very well. I love playing it solo. Eldritch Horror, I think, is almost better for me solo because it's just so long, and a lot of people just hate the length of the game that I play with. Let's see. And then other cooperatives. I mean, there could be a lot. I'm just running through my list, but those are like the major ones. What's the other one I'm thinking of vaguely in the top of my head? I don't want to talk about that yet, else I would. You know, Zombie Side works pretty good solo. It's been a while since I've done that, though. Only Microwave and Glass. Yeah, now I'm going to do that. I mean, I didn't think it would be that big a deal. But then again, maybe it's been poisoning me this whole time. Maybe I'm going to be a completely different person. Maybe I'm actually a woman, but I've been microwaving my Dunkin Donuts coffee cups, and the effects have been, like, hormonal. I'm hormonal enough as it is, thank you very much. Let's see. Are you talking about Dunkin Donuts, Psychotic Storm? They were nice when they existed in my country. Where are you from? Do you know what is going on with the Super Dungeon Explorer Kickstarter? I would love to know that. If you know, send me a postcard and let me know. Because, honestly, I get updates. It's just kind of... They put out one yesterday. Unless it had any kind of major news I missed, I didn't read it. They're just like playtesting it still. They're using the backers as playtesters, which, look, again, and we've had this discussion before, and some people were like, Nick, you're thinking about this all wrong. And I agree with the point, but like, okay, if you're a backer of a Kickstarter project, yeah, absolutely. I hope that they're taking your advice, and that's part of the fun thing about Kickstarter is the backers who are intimately involved and literally invested in the project can say, I don't think that you're doing very well with this. I think it would be better for you to change this rule and blah, blah. And, I mean, it happens all the time. And that's fine, but it looks to me like they're like going from scratch playtesting and designing the stuff that they funded, the Super Dungeon Explorer Legends and Super Dungeon Explorer, the first edition, or the second edition of the first game. I don't know. That's my impression. And I'm like, come on, man. It's been like 2 years since that Kickstarter. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. Question. Given that the word on the street is that Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers board game is dying, do you think there should be a full-blown Heroescape re-release, redone? So, first off, I actually had that thought the other day. Now, Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers was knocked off my top 100 list this year, just because I haven't played it a ton. There was at least 1 or 2 expansions in the interim between this year and last year's list, and when I played them, I'm like, oh, man, the randomness in this game is such a killer. Like, it can be... I've been on both ends of that. It's kind of a disaster. even though the core game and the concept of it is so fun, where you're a planeswalker and you know you're miniature and you got your hordes of monsters that you send out and you can cast spells. It's probably like the best. Like if the planeswalker aspect of Magic the Gathering was what you always enjoyed since they released it, then that game is your jam, the Arena of the Planeswalkers. But it has significant faults, and so. I was wondering to myself, like, have you even heard anything about that game? They haven't announced another expansion. No one's really been pumping it up or hyping it. So I do believe, I would not be shocked if it was dying. But to the other part of your question, because of that, do I think there should be a full-blown Heroescape re-release? For those of you who don't know, Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers, people have called Heroescape 2.0 because it uses essentially the same Heroescape system with a few changes. But it really is that game. In fact, people use the terrain from their original Heroescape. Now, I have a ton of Heroescape stuff. I never play it. I played it very briefly a long time ago. I don't think that it's coming back. I think that this style of game that takes an hour to set up, hours to play, is almost a lifestyle game in what is required to do it on a regular basis. I just don't think we're there anymore. I don't think that like super small games, super quick games are where we're at either. I think people have found a balance of where they want to be with this kind of stuff. And that balance are, for better or for worse, the type of miniatures games and tactical games that you see coming out of places like Cool Mini or not. And they are, that is to say, games that can be set up in a relatively brief amount of time, played in a couple of hours, up to maybe 3 or 4 hours tops, and then you're done, and you put it away easily. The type of mammoth plastic monstrosity, super expensive monstrosity to both produce and to sell, that Heroescape represents, I just don't think we're there right now. Now, don't get me wrong, people will drop thousands of dollars on a Kingdom Death Kickstarter that's full of plastic, but that's a thing. That's a different thing. Heroescape was widely available. You walk into Toys R Us and get it. You can't do that with that type of game anymore. It's just not where it is in the market. And so, and especially if Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers didn't do well, I don't see Heroescape coming back. It's not that they were the exact same game, but I would argue that perhaps Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers, which is hard to say over and over again, was dipping their toe in the water to see what the actual mood was for this. People have been clamoring for years on places like Board Game Geek, boutique gamers. We're like, bring back Heroescape. Why do they cancel Heroescape? I want it back. But that doesn't translate to mainstream popular sales. And a lot of the people who are clamoring for Heroescape to come back already have a ton of Heroescape stuff. And even I saw tons of complaints about Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers. Like, they didn't want to bother with it. So, I don't know. I don't think it's coming back. That's my opinion. But then again, I'm not the expert on Heroescape. But an actual expert on Heroescape might be a little bit too biased, so I don't know what to do with that. Thank you very much, Joy. Yeah, my top 100 sort of evolved over time. And I was just like, well, if people were complaining, they wanted to see the boxes, so I put in the boxes. And I'm like, well, I've got a ton of beer in my fridge from people bringing it over, lots of different beer. Let me just drink a different one every time and really lean into the alcoholic curve. What's really bad, though, is that a lot of times, because I'm just an idiot and a maniac and I have no ability to plan well, I would not film the last half of the list until like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, or later, or earlier, as the case may be, earlier in the morning. And because of that, I would literally be drinking at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'd be like, and not to get drunk, but I was like, I gotta drink this thing on camera, and I don't want to waste it, so I'll drink it. It was very weird and surreal. What are your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch? I don't know a ton about it. I saw some photos on my timeline. AV Club ran some articles about it that I didn't bother to click on. I didn't care about the Wii. I didn't care about the Wii U. I don't really care about video games, consoles in general right now. One day I want to get back into that because there's so many like games themselves that I want to get back into play. I never played Fallout 4. I never played the Elder Scrolls games. There's a new Mass Effect coming out. I never even played Dragon Age Inquisition, which I know people are very polarized on, but I still want to play it because I love the other ones. Disgusting nose wiping, sorry. But with the Switch, it's just not my bag. I saw the little hand controllers. They look kind of weird. I mean, it looked like it might be a little bit innovative, but I also think, is this really what people were clamoring for? It used to be that Nintendo would be ahead of the curve on that stuff, so they would know what people would be clamoring for. This time, I think they might be behind the curve. I don't know. I've been wrong about them before. I certainly didn't think the original Wii, would be as successful as it was, and it was essentially the winner of that generation of consoles. So who knows? Yes, Bugbear. Bugbear is right behind me, by the way, sleeping. Or she was sleeping. And I'm not talking about the portrait. That's just a random portrait that my friend found at the store and bought for me, but it looks like Bugbear. Now she's going to the window. So it's going to get brighter in here in a second because she's going through the blinds. Let's see. I've lost my place. For game nights, how does... Oh, wait. Did I skip something? I think I skipped something because I think more than one person asked the same question. Yes, I did. Here we go. Happy birthday, Nick. Thank you. Your gift is I will allow you to tell me what you thought about New Angeles. Not yet. Also, my gift to you is that I won't. Also, do you video game at all? Any thoughts on the Switch? So I just answered the Switch question, but do I video game at all? Well, actually, right now, I have Marvel Future Fight going on autoplay. That's Sin, who's up next for my co-op mission. Just making money. I get my tunes down in the gold mines, digging for gold for me. But that's the only video game I play. I'm addicted to that. I love it. I've been playing that for like 6 months straight now, and it's not dying down for me. I'm getting more into it, tweaking my characters to the extreme. It's like the most grindiest, crunchiest, number crunchingest game that I've ever played, and the only mobile game that's ever held my attention for a long period of time. I lost interest in Pokemon Go like a month after it came out. But sadly, I just don't have the time for console video games anymore. Console video games used to be my number one hobby, bar none. Anime would be a close second, but even with anime, I never spent as much time watching anime as I did playing games. For game nights, how does your group decide which games to play? I tell them this is what I need to play. That's the sad part. And because of that, we don't have very many members in the group, because we just do it at my apartment, which is totally understandable. And that's me doing what I need to do. Now, the people who do show up are like, okay, I'm fine with that. I just want to play new games. But there are other groups in the area that are more like, let's just get around and play Settlers for the 50th time. And I'm being a little bit of a dick about it, but that's fine. That's just not what my group is. Hey, Nick, any thoughts on Gloomhaven? Well, I pre-ordered it, so I'll guess I'll get it around the same time as the backers, because he seems to be shipping them out at the same time. But I don't know anything other than that. It's supposed to be a legacy game without the legacy elements, which is to say the permanent changing. So I'm a little bit wary of that, but if the game itself is good enough, I won't care. Hi, Nick. I was looking at some of Jason Peacock's, I've never heard of him, vlogs, and thought that it would be a great concept for you. Once a week, you could just stand around and talk about what you've played during the week. Yeah, but that's like for the reviews. Like, usually... So, I'm not reviewing everything that I play, but if it's something I think is interesting enough to talk about, I would do a review of it eventually. And what I'm going to do, starting this week, I keep hinting at, is I'm going to do some videos of games that were not, in my opinion, for various reasons, worthy of getting a full review, and I'll just cram them all into one video. So that might be more along the lines of what you're talking about. By the way, Philip K. Dick, everyone. I mean, I love your work, sir. Aren't you dead? Patrick Stewart. I don't know why you're randomly mentioning that, but you might be mentioning that because he was the voice of, oh God, what's his name? Her mentor in Nausicaa, the Valley of the Winds. He did a good job with that, by the way. Because I have watched the dubs. I usually don't do that. I've watched both the dub and the original Japanese version of Nausicaa, and they're both very good. I have read that Kingdom of the Monster First Wave has been pushed back from summer to autumn winter, but can't see any update to that effect on Kickstarter. Any view about when we can realistically expect it? Well, I'm going to guess that you are seeing speculation from other people saying that. And I have said that too. I had a friend on Facebook who backed the game as well. Primarily, actually, because he came here and played it with me. So I'm not just friends with him on Facebook. Well, he comes to the group, but blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he actually, it's the Kickstarter spurred him to come to the game group to try it out, and we did. And he went ahead and backed it. And I think he messaged me one time and was like, yeah, I can't wait for summer. And I'm like, dude, hold your horses. Based on past experience, we had to wait 3 years, or close to 3 years, just for the core game of the original Kingdom Death. And now it's like they have to reprint the core game, which is okay. Most of the work on the original miniatures and stuff are done, but now they have to add all the other new stuff in, make a new box, all this stuff. I don't realistically see it dropping in the summer. I don't. Maybe August 31st. And I wouldn't get mad about it. I wouldn't get upset about it. I'm not telling you to be angry about it, but I'm just saying be reasonable. I think there's too much stuff, even with just the upgrade and core game, for him to get it all done based on past experience. And also, Kickstarter. How many Kickstarters, even the most reputable and known people on Kickstarter, how often are they right on time or even within a month? It just doesn't happen. So I wouldn't get upset about it, but I would be realistic. Now, if I'm wrong on that, you'll be even happier, because it'll be like, oh my God, it's great. And isn't it great to say that I'm wrong? It's just so good. I have heard from people, it is so great when they prove that I'm wrong. Now, all the other expansion content, by the way, who knows? I couldn't even fathom a guess. He has a very vague timeline of it. I would add like 6 months to all of that. Did you play the latest Elder Scrolls expansion? I have, and I'll be reviewing it soon. Did you watch the inauguration yesterday? No, I did not. My boss at work, who is usually like the most notorious for like no distractions, no phones, you're not allowed to do anything, don't look at anything on the internet, blah, 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 blah. He was in his office all day watching the inauguration online and looking at other news stories and reports and newscasts about it. I just wanted to tune it out. I just didn't care. It's not because he's a Trump supporter, by the way. I think he just wanted to see it. It was the spectacle. And I get that to a degree. I heard news stories of people who were not supporters of Trump, but who actually traveled, not just watch the inauguration, they went to the inauguration, and not to protest. They just wanted to be a part of it. Like, they had the opportunity, they had tickets to go, and they said, I'm going to go. And I don't get that, but I mean, I personally don't get it. I guess I understand it in a broad sense. I'm not... I like, my Facebook was kind of insufferable yesterday. I'm friends with, of course, you friends people who think like you, right? Whether you was consciously or subconsciously do it. And so my Facebook wall was kind of insufferable yesterday with some of the links that people were sharing. I mean, there was lots and lots of doom and gloom yesterday. And listen, there's no doubt about it. This is if you have liberal and progressive leanings, this was a horrible day yesterday. And not even just because it was my birthday, which is just added shit on the cake, right? But if you had those kind of leanings, this is just bad. It's not even necessarily President Trump. It's everyone else along with him that's now going to be in power. And so it's depressing. However, I also think like it's literally not the end of the world. But people seem to think that it is. Like, really, they do. They think, like, we'll never, ever recover from this, and it's all over. Everything we've ever worked for is just done. Forget it. It's all done. I think it's going to be very rough for us. I don't think that it's that bad. I also posted on Facebook yesterday, my personal Facebook, about how I was really disgusted with some of the behavior of some of my fellow liberals when it came to a couple of the stories yesterday. The ones in particular I'm thinking of was Richard Spencer, who is a notorious alt-right white supremacist, essentially a neo-Nazi. Really bad guy, to put it as simply as possible. Not a good person. A person who I wouldn't shed a tear if he was in some sort of accident, right? Which sounds terrible, but okay. I don't wish death upon anyone, but I certainly wouldn't mourn if something bad happened to him. And yet, yesterday, or maybe it happened Thursday, I don't know, But there was a video going around of him being interviewed out on the street, and then some random guy, I guess I'll mention that the attacker was a white guy, and within the context it matters, who just walked up and sucker punched him right on camera. And this was like the funniest thing in the world, apparently, to a lot of my friends, a lot of the people I follow on Twitter, and so on, who just were getting off on this, just thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I'm thinking to myself, acknowledging that he's a bad dude, and I don't feel bad for him necessarily, but I'm thinking, would you want that to happen to, like, I use the example of Trevor Noah. Like, if someone just walked up on the street and punched Trevor Noah in the face for no reason, like some redneck, or Obama or Elizabeth Warren just got attacked on the street, would you want that to happen? Would you be pissed off? Would you demand legal action against the person that did it? And would you hate the people who are laughing at it and mocking it and making light of it? I think that you would. So why is it okay for someone to attack even a reprehensible white supremacist on the street? My point in this being, physical violence for no reason, for not in self-defense, not to defend someone else, physical violence is not okay, ever, okay? And we're supposed to be better than that. That's the thing, is that a lot of my fellow liberals and myself will tell you, like, you know, that conservatives are violence mongers, and they're, you know, they don't have the same ethical values that we have, and so on and so forth. But you can't take that moral high ground if you laugh at something like that and think that it's perfectly okay. There are people online like Patton Oswalt saying, punching a neo-Nazi, perfectly fine, it's okay. I mean, punching a neo-Nazi who's threatening you with a gun, perfectly fine and okay. I'm on board with that. Punching a neo-Nazi who's just having an interview on the street is not okay. Why should I even have to say that? The other one was that some little kid was out at one of the protests and was like burning signs and talking smack on camera. And I was just humiliated. I just felt embarrassed for that kid and his parents, because if you're an adult and doing that stuff, okay, you have the freedom to protest as much as you want. I think burning shit is very extreme, but especially encouraging a little kid to do it, I'm just not okay with that. So I was a little bit fatigued by everything involving the inauguration. I wasn't going to watch it, and I'm not going to, you know, blindly support this president or his administration. But I also think that liberals need to calm the fuck down, because it's getting to be embarrassing for us. Anyways, let's see. Who noticed what game is number 1 in the Board Game Geek hotness list? Seems like some, i.e. lots of Board Game Geek users, are susceptible to clickbait. Yes, it is Kama Sutra, or at least the last time I checked it was, which I talked about on my Facebook page. Bruno Faiduti, who's a pretty well-known designer. I think his most popular game is Citadels, but he's worked on many games. And he's co-authored a lot of games, too. He put out, or he will be putting out very soon, maybe it already is, a very small print-and-play card game. It's only going to be print-and-play for now, called Kama Sutra. The game depicts the positions of the Kama Sutra on the cards. If you don't know what the Kama Sutra is, if you're not at work, look it up. But it uses very, very cute, almost like, what's that old comic strip called Love Is, which is terrible, of like little babies that are supposed to be like a married couple. It's super creepy. But they don't look like real children. That's kind of the style of artwork they use for Kama Sutra. There's like no nipples on the woman. It's very strange, but it looks cute, right? And the point of the game is a party game for couples or whoever, where you and your partner have to mimic the positions of the Kama Sutra and with a balloon, and try not to pop or maybe the point is to pop the balloon. I don't know. But it's very funny. I'm stifling a sneeze, sorry. Of course I am. It's very funny. I love that it's offending a lot of people. I love that other people are just having tons of fun with it. And I just love it when stuff like that makes it onto Board Game Geek, because, you know, there's a lot of, like, very conservative, white bread Christians who are like, oh no, why is this on my feed? Which I love. Thoughts on Rick and Morty? It's great! It's amazing! You probably saw me wear a Rick and Morty shirt at various times during the Top 100. I love Rick and Morty. I can't wait for the next season. I think it's both funny, it's subversive, it plays with sci-fi concepts in a way that is very, I mean, like, like, it feels like hard science fiction at times, but it's also a show with poop jokes, you know? And I just love that they're able to walk that line between all these different ideas and concepts. And I don't want to oversell it, but I really feel it's a very smart show. I'm waiting for it to jump the shark. Like, I don't think they can keep this up, but I think it's very good for now. Marvel Legendary was my favorite solo game, but Arkham Horror, I think LCG you mean, has taken it over. Yeah, I will get to review that soon as well. That's a good one. Would you do Pandemic Legacy solo, or would that be better in a group? A group. In fact, I just restarted Pandemic Legacy, and I've been having a fine old time with it. Since you're obviously a cinephile, I love movies, but I'm not a cinephile. Would you do a 10 or even 100 favorite films of all time? I might do 10 one day. For right now, I think people want me to just focus on board games because I'm so far behind on everything. But when I feel like I've done a lot of content working into the year, that's not a bad idea. Although that's an overwhelming amount of work for me. Could I really do my top 10 movies? I know a few that would be contenders. I don't think it's spoiling anything because I don't know where they would shake out. But like, The Prestige is an amazing movie. Gremlins, the original Terminator, Star Wars. Although, if I don't want to pick an entire trilogy of films, so if I had to pick one, it would be The Empire Strikes Back, of course. Isn't it great that they only ever made 3 Star Wars movies? I mean, they really could have ruined that franchise by making stupid shit like prequels or, you know, like side stories that took place in between the movies, but they never bothered with it. I'm so glad they never ruined Star Wars. So yeah, one day I'll do that list. Philip, we were just giving you a hard time. Are you making a top 10 expansion video? I won't do top 10, but I'm thinking of doing the top 5. I did that last year. It worked pretty well. How long would you spend on a typical Kingdom Death solo session? If I'm willing to set it up, and I don't plan on leaving it set up for like an entire week, I'll at least do a couple of Lantern Years, because I want to make it worth my time for setting it up and all that. It's not like, by the way, I don't think this setup for Kingdom Death is so onerous compared to other games. I don't even think it's as bad as like Eldritch Horror, but it's still a thing to do and to put it away. Have you been playing Conan lately? Initial thoughts on it so far? Conan is gone! I didn't even play it. Oh yeah, that's the reality. That's an interesting story too. I thought about talking about this in a video, but I'm not even going to bother. I did the unboxing for Conan and was so completely underwhelmed by it that it just sort of sat there for weeks. And there was, I thought everything about that game I regretted. I regretted backing it immediately, and I don't know why I did it. It looked incredibly generic. I looked at all the pieces, and I'm like, another one of these? Again? Why do I need this? Part of it is the Kingdom Death effect, where it's like, that fills so many roles for what I want out of that type of heavy adventure miniatures game. Part of it was Descent. I think Descent does enough for me right now. Part of it was I don't give a crap about Conan. Part of it was I was turned off by some of the sexist elements other people have talked about. Not to the degree other people have been, but it's a thing. It's enough of a niggling little thing for me to be annoyed by. And someone wanted it, so I said, here you go, buy it for me. And I made more than my money back, and I was more than happy to be done with it. So it's gone. I never played it, and I don't care. How long would you spend on a typical Kingdom Death Monster solo session? Oh wait, I'm sorry, I answered that already. Arcadia Quest or Super Dungeon Explorer? Arcadia Quest. I think that's how it shook out on my top 100 list as well. Now look, I say this over and over again. They're very different. One of them is straight up competitive. The other one is either one versus all or fully cooperative. Super Dungeon Explorer, depending on what rule set you use. And they just play differently. They feel like very different games, but people often compare them because they look similar. The chibi miniatures and the art style and the board, and, you know, the tiles and things. But playing them is very, very different. So it's kind of an apples and oranges type thing almost, or apples and Granny Smith apples. But even so, I'm fine with comparing two disparate games, and I think that Arcadia Quest is just something I would more likely play. I'm really loving Battlelore 2.0, and I'm picking up MR44 and a few other Command and Colors system games. What would be the next step for two-player light war games without going to Warhammer level? Well, they make a couple of Warhammer board games that I think are more accessible. I don't know how in print they are, like Horus Heresy. I haven't played them. I'm just going off of other people's recommendations. But those were definitely heavier strategic war games. I thought that Tide of Iron, which I reviewed because they sent me a review copy, and which is now out of print. That company went under, but you can probably still find copies of it, the second edition or whatever. But Tide of Iron, while it wasn't for me, just because I don't typically like that type of game, I objectively thought if you're a war gamer who likes lighter war games, this probably works very well. So you should check out Tide of Iron. I would give that a light recommendation. Other than that, people still love Twilight Imperium as like a 4X like strategic game. I know that's not what you asked for. You asked for a war game, but maybe that would give you some feeling of that, of like spreading out your empire of space. I don't know. I haven't played that either, despite owning it since almost the beginning of my game group. Nick, would you suggest Pandemic Legacy or Seafall to try as 2-player? I want to try a Legacy game, but 2-player viability is best for me, and normal Pandemic isn't really my jam, but I'm not sure what else to try. I definitely don't think that Seafall would be good with 2 players. I don't know for sure, but I don't think it would be. On the other hand, Pandemic Legacy, I just played 3 games of 2-player last week, and it was great. And the way that we played it, each player takes 2 roles, and it works well. So that would be my opinion. Also, Nick, go Steam Link instead of a normal console because PC Master Race and streaming to your TV is even better. Yeah, I can get behind that. Once I get my setup a little bit better with my laptop. I have actually been watching YouTube videos on my TV by slinging them from my laptop to the screen, and it's worked great. In one update, Adam Poots, the designer of Kingdom Death, said that the changes he was going to release slowly had been sent off to production months ago. So I'm not really sure what to think about when Kingdom Death base game will actually ship. Yeah, I know it's confusing. He's very cagey about the details, and honestly, sometimes I don't even think he knows all the details of what's going on, just because there's so much involved with his production team. His team is like him and his wife and maybe a few other people and his artists. But he has to deal with people in China to get all the stuff actually produced. Happy belated birthday, buddy. Did you celebrate in style? Thank you very much. I did not. I stayed home and I kind of relaxed. I was actually going to work on the channel last night, and I probably should have because I've been an irresponsible, lazy asshole about it. But I decided I just wanted to relax because I was very tired. There was a point this week where I thought my body was going to shut down. I've always said that I've joked about that kind of stuff, but there was a point this week where I had a persistent headache that wouldn't go away, and I was like just running on fumes. Like I was in like my brain was in like a fog, and it was because over the past week and a half I'd probably only gotten 4 hours of sleep a night consistently, and sometimes a little bit less. And it was starting to kill me. So I said, maybe for my birthday at least, I'll take it easy. But I did end up drinking some moonshine that I had sitting around, and then never drink something that caustic so close to when you're about to go to sleep unless you pass out. I didn't pass out. I just said, okay, I'm going to go to sleep now. It didn't have time to properly digest, so like a half hour later, I had to wake up with like horrendous acid reflux. It was terrible. I thought I was going to have to like go to the hospital. But anyways. What's the art on the wall? So directly behind me that you can see on my right side is, that's actually Mass Effect 2. It's a really cool Mass Effect 2 poster, limited art print that they were selling on their official website for a very brief amount of time, and I got one and I love it. It's like the Mass Effect 2 team, everyone but Shepard. So it's got Grunt, and I can actually see them in the screen. I know it's really blurry, but starting from the top, there's Caden. Oh my god, what's the assassin's name? Thawne? I can't remember the assassin's name, but I love him. Jax, the biotic user, Morden, Liara, Grunt, and then I can't remember the android, who's your ship as well, and then who's the Quarian. It's been a while since I played those games. And then directly behind me, that my head is covering both halves of both other pictures. It's just random art I got from art.com that I thought looks good. One of them actually is just like a cyber dystopian girl in the middle of the street. And then the other one always reminded me of Battle Angel Alita. I don't even know if you can see. Let me get to my other view here and see if I can. Oh, there's Bugbear. Good timing, Bugbear. Woo! Yeah, you can't really see it. The glare is too much. But in any case, it looks like a girl in like a scrap heap who like the bottom half of her body is robotic, and she's pulling herself out of the scrap heap by wires. And I just love it because it always reminds me of Battle Angel Alita. Let's see. Yeah, but would you play it? I'm not sure what you're referring to. My bad. Orleans is your number 11 of your top 100. You mentioned the expansion to play it co-op. I play mainly co-op games. How good is the co-op game compared to other games? Would it be worth getting it for that? I don't want to comment on that just yet because we started to do that, and I could tell that it was really cool, but the people that I played it with weren't having a good time with it because they were hardcore Euro gamers and just wanted to play competitively. So I think, if possible, I'm going to play it solo and then I'll let you know. I rather liked Rogue One. Well, I'm sorry. Have you seeked counseling? No, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, I'm giving you a hard time. I love being antagonistic about people's movies that they like. I saw Rogue One and thought afterwards, I didn't regret watching it. It was a fine action movie, but I just was left very hollow by it. I hated the characters. I hated the CGI Tarkin. I hated the fan service. The fan service in that movie was so obnoxious. I like The Force Awakens. I don't know. They managed to make the fan service in that movie serviceable to the plot, and it didn't feel too intrusive. And maybe because it was a continuation, it made sense, right? But like, they brought back the original actors, some of them, and it's like, yeah, they worked great. Like, these are actually good actors, and they fit into the movie just fine. And then C-3PO didn't feel too obnoxious in it, with his red arm. And it's just, that shit just worked in that movie, or at least it worked to the point where I didn't care about it, right? In Rogue One, it was just like, oh, you'll be dead, guy. It's just fucking there. Why? It serves no purpose. The guy from Red Letter Media said this is the most apt way to describe it. It's like dangling keys in front of a baby. Like, oh, look at the keys. And I know, look, for those of you that, I don't want to be too insulting to people who liked it, because obviously I like Star Wars a lot. I'm not a Star Wars fanboy. If you are, more power to you, because there's some things I'm a fanboy about that other people would criticize me for, and I don't want to be like that guy. But I felt like a few tweaks, get rid of the fan service, or at least the overwhelming amount of fan service in that movie, make the characters more lovable, and they don't have to be like good people, but make them interesting. Get rid of the CGI characters. People keep trying to tell me, but Nick, you gotta have Tarkin. How could you do a story about the prequel to the Death Star and not have Tarkin in it? Really? It seems really easy to me to not have him in it. Like, why? Why would it be a bad idea to just say, oh, before there was Tarkin, there was this guy Krennic, and he was the guy in charge of it, and then he fucked up and got killed, and now therefore New Hope, it's Tarkin. Like, works for me. But they had to have him in there, and it was just so distracting and ripped me right out of the movie. I don't care how many people tell me it looked fine. It looked like the Uncanny Valley, like leapt up and swallowed him. That's how bad it was. But anyways, Hodor, yes. Let's see. Rogue One was a good action movie, but was inconsequential as a Star Wars movie. That's probably the best way to describe it, actually. And yeah, that's the other point too, is that we already knew how it was going to end. Spoiler alert, they get the plans to the Death Star to the Alliance. So if that's the case, that's fine. You need to make everything else in the movie very, very compelling to make up for that. And in my opinion, they didn't. Other people think differently. Comments. I'm not ignoring your comments. I'm looking for questions. We'll agree to disagree on that. Psychotic Storm. Isn't Kingdom Death kind of, if not overly sexist? I don't see it that way. I don't see the depiction of women in a scantily clad way as inherently sexist. It can be problematic. The thing that I was talking about with Conan, I don't even want to really get into it because it's just a whole bag of can of worms, but was that it didn't feel like there was any strong female characters in the game, and those that were there to be rescued. But just my opinion. Licensed property that would make a good legendary deck building game. One Piece. I'm still pushing for One Piece. There's so many characters in One Piece and so many story arcs that could be made into individual expansions. It would be perfect. Perfect! But they'll never do it. I know, my nose is all stuffed up. I apologize. I know it's gross. We're almost done. So, wife and I watched the anime called Monster. Is there anything similar without blood and gore in it? Monster is very good. I never actually finished that. Without blood and gore, I don't know. A compelling murder mystery? Death Note. Death Note has more supernatural aspects to it. Overtly supernatural aspects, like right from the get-go. But I don't think there's a lot of blood and gore in that. There's some violence, but I don't think that's a big deal. If you want to watch it with younger people, I think it works fine. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry, guys. The problem with me doing a Q&A earlier in the day is that I always have allergies up through like 1 o'clock every day. Very annoying. Let's see. How do you feel about the uniform update and Future Fight? John, you and I are the only people that are going to care about this, but I do want to rant about it. But this might be interesting to other people. Future Fight is a free-to-play game for mobile. It's amazing. It's a grindy RPG. Like every character you could possibly imagine in the Marvel Universe except mutants and Fantastic Four characters, because they're not allowed to use those. But same as the movies. But everything else is in there almost, and or will be soon. So many characters. It's a great game. It's a fantastic game, and it's one of the games that you know people say free to play, but you're like, oh, but it's clearly a pay to win game, right? It's pay to go faster. There's a ton of free to play players who are top tier players in the game, including in my own alliance. So it's legitimately a free-to-play game if you want to play it that way. However, with the last update, which was almost entirely great, except for one glaring thing, they introduced a thing where all the characters... In this game, you can buy uniforms for the characters. Like, for example, there's several different suits from all the different movies you can buy for Iron Man and his 2099 suit. There's like many different Captain America suits, including his latest Hydra one, and so on. And that's fine. And they're actually not just cosmetic. They give you boosts. And they change your skills. Some of them change your character's gender. Like you can get a Lady Loki costume. And that's significant for different game modes that require certain genders to be played. And so they're a big deal, but they're not... And it's good to have them, but it's not like game-ending thing. It's a fun thing to have in the game, right? And it's cool. What they just did was a uniform upgrade system, where now your uniforms can gain levels, have different options, and so on, which feels a little bit like too tacked on. But if it was just that, people would say, okay, it's a new type of thing that we have to grind for. Not a big deal. It's interesting, right? It's for end game users. But in order to do the upgrades, as a prerequisite, you must own other uniforms completely different. So for instance, if I want to gain like another level with my Doctor Strange, I have to have Green Goblin's uniform that makes him look like the ultimate Green Goblin. Well, I don't want that. I don't want it, because I don't play Green Goblin. He sucks. But if I want to upgrade my Doctor Strange uniform again, I need to have it. Sometimes, there's one of the most notorious things is like Captain America has like 6 different uniforms. For one of Captain America's uniforms, you are required to own another Captain America uniform. And let me be very clear on this. There's usually one uniform that's the best in all circumstances for any of these characters. There is no point otherwise in owning the other uniforms. But they're making you do it to upgrade them. And it is the most glaringly money-grubbing, we need to squeeze out as much money as possible from the players thing as possible. And I've defended this company in a lot of the different things that people have complained about because I'm like, no, it's still a free-to-play game. It just makes it faster, right? This is bad. And even though I've done it, because I'm willing to throw money in the game, I don't care. It's pretty notorious. It's pretty egregiously bad, and I do hope that they change it. That's my rant. Let's see. Where am I? Dragon Ball would work well, or Final Fantasy. Yeah, I guess that would work well for Legendary. What game are you more excited for? Siege of the Citadel or Rising Sun? Siege of the Citadel, I'll say by default. Not that I really care about it that much, but I think that I'm not interested at all in Rising Sun. I'll get it and play it, but I'm not that interested. Like, oh, Asian Blood Rage that's based on diplomacy. Like, that's just not what I'm interested in. Hey, Nick, what did you end up pledging for Kingdom Death Monster? Too much. I don't want to say. I don't know why. I guess I'm a little bit embarrassed, but also I don't want people to think like... I don't want people to hear what I pledged and be like, oh, I should have gotten that instead. And then they're going to, when the pledge manager eventually opens, they'll put even more money into it. I don't mind recommending Kingdom Death Monster, but you should pledge whatever you're comfortable with and don't listen to me because it's too much money for me to want to tacitly endorse that. I've just come back from a play of Dominant Species. Any word on number 1 and hotness on Board Game Geek Kama Sutra yet? I'm not really sure what your question is. Okay. Clarify that a little bit. I never played Dominant Species, actually. I've heard it was very good, but very long. Yeah, I'll do a live playthrough of Kama Sutra. By myself, actually. Yeah, there were a lot of jokes about, like, oh, can I do solo play with Kama Sutra? And then the jokes ensued, and it was great. Look for that thread. It's amazing. Maybe Psycho-Pass or Steins Gate for an alternative to Monster. Well, Psycho-Pass. I just by coincidence, maybe you are saying that because I mentioned it before, but I just watched Psycho-Pass for the first time a few weeks ago over the holiday. I watched both Season 1 and Season 2. Season 2 sucks. Don't bother. It's not over. It's not entirely bad. It's not worth it. It's redoing the story, and it's not worth the time. I haven't watched the movie yet. Psycho-Pass Season 1 is fantastic. You could stop right at the end of that and never worry about it ever again. But here's a problem with Psycho-Pass regarding the other person's question. The person had asked, what's a non-gory, bloody alternative to Monster? And Psycho-Pass, well, for the most part, is not overly gory. Whenever they use their Dominators in the show, they make a really extravagant show of having the people explode in a very bloody way. And it's kind of like one of the most immature things about the show. They clearly just did it as like gore fan service, Guro. And so for that reason, it's tough to recommend. And it's right in the first episode, by the way. Like right in the first episode, someone's arm gets blown off, then the rest of his body explodes. And like a shower of blood all over his victim. Like it's really... not that I'm squeamish about it, but it's over the top to a comical degree. Steins Gate, I haven't watched yet. I know. Steins Gate is one people constantly recommend to me based on the stuff that I already like more mature, thought-provoking science fiction anime, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. Have you tried Ponzi Scheme yet? Great Take That experience. I have owned the original version of Ponzi Scheme from, like, I think Taiwan for over 2 years and still haven't played it. I know I'm terrible. I know it's coming out from Tasty Minstrel. Did they do the new version? I don't know. Have you seen Ex Machina? One of my favorite movies. Yes. I don't know if it's one of my favorite movies, but it's a very, very, very good movie. I saw it when it was in the theaters. I highly recommend it if you like hard science fiction, AI type things having to do with robots with artificial intelligence. I'm not telling with the Kingdom Death Pledge. Is above and below in your top 100? It is. It's in the bottom 50, I think. It is not available as text, but if you really want to look through it as quickly as possible, yes, I'll make you click, but go to the video and just scroll to the end, and I have the whole top 10 scroll by very quickly. What franchise or license would you apply to a game like how there is Legendary Marvel? We talked about that earlier. I'd put One Piece on Legendary and call it a day. You are one funny dude, Nick. Thank you very much. Enjoy your videos. One best Japanese game not released in the West. We're getting all the good ones. Heart of Crown is now going to be out very soon. Of the other ones, I'll say Unicornus Knights, although I would wager that's going to be released here. Maybe it actually is. I don't know. Maybe it's already been announced. Anyways, that's the end of the questions, and it's the end of the Q&A. Perfect timing. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who stopped by and tuned in. We had a good crowd today. Lots of fantastic questions, lots of thought-provoking questions, lots of questions who my response to them is going to anger a lot of people, and isn't that why we're all here? No, you're here to watch me sniffle. Anyways, thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate it. Hey, listen. Have a fantastic weekend. The world's not coming to an end yet. It ain't that bad. Go and play some games. Have fun. For God's sake, watch Red Letter Media because they're great and they need more subscribers. And in the meantime, we'll be here. I will be here next week, come hell or high water, and you will be seeing some reviews very, very soon. Thank you very much. Take care. I'm stalling with my words until I find the button. There it is. Bye-bye.